Morning Coffee. I am your guest co-host for today, Jacqueline Dixon. I'm a reflexologist and holistic health liaison. I'm here with my show Charlene Chamberlain.
Lovely to have you on set. I love you being here.
I'm
and
so
as you
happy
can
to be
see,
here.
the boy is not with us anymore.
We threw him out. We threw him out.
We didn't want to get pregnant. We asked him to leave the studio. See, that's how I get back at him.
Yes. Yeah. Threw him out of here.
Yeah,
Fist bump.
absolutely. So this is segment 2 of Morning Coffee, and Jacqueline and I are here with Colleen White and Lindy Fisher of the Leche League. Welcome to Morning Coffee. It's nice to have you here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Fill us in. What is the Leche League?
Well, La Leche League is a volunteer organization that provides support and information for pregnant women who are considering breastfeeding and want to learn more about it, and to moms that are nursing. And we provide support groups, information with telephone helping, emails, online. We have books. But basically, we're just there to answer moms' questions, meet them where they are, again, offer support for what they're doing, and sort of provide that village. It takes a village to raise a kid,
Sure.
and to breastfeed, and to learn, and it's a whole parenting style. So.
And Colleen, you were saying the organization has been around for 60 years.
Right.
This in 2016.
Right. 2016 will be the 60th anniversary of La Leche League.
That's incredible.
It is. Here we've been in the Garden State for 50 years. We celebrated our 50th a couple years ago. So, but actually, La Leche League is in 27 countries. So we're national and international.
That's great.
Did it start in the United States?
It did. It started in Schaumburg, Illinois, where 7 moms were sitting around at a church picnic, nursing their babies.
Really?
Talking about how great it was that they didn't have to worry about heating up bottles when they were outside or keeping bottles cool in the heat. And they got to talking, and like a lot of grassroots organizations, it started that way.
Sure.
And those 7 moms started meeting in homes to support each other. And it grew from there. One mom moved to Colorado. She started leading meetings there. The meeting started in New Jersey, like I said, 50 years ago, and it just grew from there. In fact, there's probably a meeting going on in New Jersey right now, and all over the world. We have about 27,000 dues-paying members all over the world. We have about 6,000 leaders. So meetings and help, telephone help, email help, are going on daily. With leaders like Lindy and myself helping moms.
Now, do you meet with the moms one-on-one in their homes, or do they come to you?
Some groups do. It depends on, because the leaders are volunteer, it just depends on what that woman's life is like. Often, if a woman comes to the meeting, she can be met personally one-on-one either before or after the meeting. So that's really an individual thing, whether or not a leader meets women in their homes. Some do, some don't.
Right. Most meetings take place in community centers,
Or
churches, right?
Homes.
Those homes, libraries. If you go to www.llli.org, that stands for La Leche League International, you can type in your zip code or the state that you're in and find a local leader who will direct you to the meeting closest to you.
Right.
And then, and some meetings are different. They're set up like breastfeeding cafes, where it'd be like just like we're sitting here just talking about breastfeeding.
Sure.
So it's not like a formal meeting, but then there are other formal meetings.
Where more information is provided and there's a topic. But one thing I wanted to say about how La Leche League started with the 7 moms supporting each other and agreeing to meet on a regular basis, that's still the crux of the way meetings are run today.
Sure.
It's definitely mother-to-mother support. And whereas we as leaders are trained and we get ongoing education, we attend conferences, etc., continuing education events, a lot of the wisdom of the meeting just comes from the other moms there too, and that's just as important. And to have a mom sitting there that, I went through that, this is how I handled it.
Validation.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Sharing.
Yeah.
Now, I know in hospitals a lot of times there will be what's called a lactation consultant. Is that something that is through La Leche typically, or is that just something that now we're having more of in hospitals and it's a separate entity?
Right. Jackie, that's a great question, because this can be a confusing thing. Lactation consultants, and Lindy is a lactation consultant, so she's been accredited by the International Board of Lactation Consultants, and she's done their training and been accredited by them for that work. And lactation consultants will come to your home, they work in hospitals, and they're usually paid for their work. La Leche League volunteers, we've been through an accreditation process through La Leche League. We've trained, we've written, we've read, we've worked with a supporting leader.
But you are unpaid volunteers.
We are, and
giving so generously of your time,
Right.
and
Right.
it's very appreciated. It's
Right.
very great for
But
Right.
I just want to say it doesn't make our information any less valid.
Sure.
Everything,
Oh, absolutely
everything that La Leche League does is supported by research, and that's now one thing that's interesting is that the international lactation consultant movement came out of La Leche League. The first people that were accredited lactation consultants were La Leche League leaders. And so since then, there's been a lot more research to support things that La Leche League has been saying since 1956 when they first started. And really, it's just the way people have breastfed for millennia. But
And that's another interesting point that Lindy makes, which is our philosophy has not changed
Right.
in 60 years. The points in our philosophy are the same as they were then, and if I say them to you now, they'll seem so logical and common sense. Baby needs to be with mom for a good start to breastfeeding. Whole foods are important.
Yes.
foods in as close to their natural state as possible.
Right. So those tenets of our philosophy haven't changed in 60 years. So what our founders,
Right.
really thought to be the best, we still follow today as part of our philosophy. Right. So a lactation consultant is different from a La Leche League leader, but sometimes you can get both together.
Okay.
For
Like we
example,
have today.
Lindy's
Yeah.
right. Lindy's a lactation
best of both
consultant.
worlds.
I am not.
Right.
Right.
Okay.
Well, hold that thought. We're going to take a quick commercial break. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
In a world where bankers have lost all interest, where robots and fat cats rule our fortunes, one woman will stand up and strive to do the impossible. Be treated like a person. Friends and neighbors will join her quest. Ordinary people will band together against the forces of corporate greed. And together they will form Philadelphia Federal Credit Union, already in a neighborhood near you.
Imagine the finest hand-selected USDA prime steak you'll ever have. The freshest line-caught seafood, our Wine Spectator award-winning wine list, and soul-satisfying desserts. Bring that together with the perfect date, the winning business deal, a memorable family celebration. Welcome to Rod's Steak and Seafood Grill in nearby Morristown, New Jersey. Bring your appetite and feed your passion.
Your credit score is yours, and at Experian Credit Expert, we want to help you really use it. With access to helpful Experian experts over the phone and online, we can help you use it to get a better idea of what info the banks have on you. Use it to get more choice of mortgages. Use it to make your money go further. Take the next step to improving your financial future with your free 30-day trial at experian.co.uk.
Here at Freppy's Tex-Mex, you can definitely taste the freshness in our food. You should definitely come to Freppy's because it's a great place. You can bring your family, very kid-friendly. All my servers are amazing, friendly people. Everyone here is just happy to serve, and I think it shows. The thing that sets us apart is the quality and freshness of our food. And I think once you try it, you'd be coming back. I'm Joe DeSario, co-owner of Freppy's Tex-Mex in Plainfield, New Jersey.
Hey there, everybody. This is Scott Tanker, host of Lunch with the Boss on RadioVisionNetwork.com. I want you to visit me each and every Thursday from 12:30 to 1 o'clock, where we have special guests talking about the dynamics between employees and employers. We talk about their business. We let our audience know, that's you folks, what these businesses are all about and how we can make the working environment better, while at the same time learning about local businesses here in the Delaware Valley. So, I'm host of Lunch with the Boss. My name is Scott Tanker. I want to see you here every Thursday from 12:30 to 1 o'clock. Be there or be square. Thanks a lot.
Today's show has been sponsored by More Than Gifts. Come see our new location in Marlton, New Jersey. Not just gifts, but more.
Welcome back to Morning Coffee. I'm here with my show Jacqueline Dixon.
Hi, guys.
Hi, Jacqueline. Hi, Jacqueline. And we're here with Colleen White and Lindy Fisher of La Leche League. We were just talking about, during the break, the benefits of breastfeeding, but Jacqueline had a question.
So I always like to stand up for the underdog. So I always think when because I have seen La Leche lectures, I guess you would say, and I've met with people that are volunteers. And my concern is for women out there that have not been able to breastfeed. Sometimes you will hear women say that they were physically unable. It just couldn't happen for them. And I worry sometimes, like, are we shaming them, or is there a way to help them? Is there help that can be offered to those women?
You want to take
Go
that?
ahead. Go ahead. You've been doing this longer than I have, Lindy.
Well, a lot of times when women have difficulties, a lot of times it stems back to their experience in the hospital and experience with giving birth. Maybe a medical intervention, maybe use of drugs that made the baby sleepy, it may be mother-baby separation. Breastfeeding works best if breastfeeding is initiated as soon after birth as possible, and ideally certainly within an hour, the first hour after birth. A lot of times that can't happen. And it's a matter of having good qualified help for the mom and support and getting information early, ideally before birth. You need that information as soon as you give birth, because that baby's there, that baby's going to want to eat. Mm-hmm. So if you wait until after birth and say, now I want to learn about breastfeeding, it's a lot. It's a lot.
And in a perfect situation, are you delivering baby and baby's being brought right to your chest and you're going from there?
Ideally.
Okay.
Ideally. And
Yeah, right.
If the baby is very sleepy because of medications used in birth, that interferes.
I didn't even
a little
think
bit.
of that, but it's a great point.
And it doesn't mean that it can't happen. But
Sure.
in terms of women's milk ducts and production of milk, it's very rare that any mammal can't feed their young. If you think we're mammals, and a lot of what we learned early on about breastfeeding came from veterinarians, and believe it or not. And so you don't see a mother cat that can't feed her kittens. You don't see a mother dog that doesn't lay with her puppies and nurse the puppies.
Right.
I was also curious, and maybe you don't have an answer for this, but in a case where maybe a woman has had breast cancer or a mastectomy or something of that nature, is there any way, do we have like breast milk banks or things of those nature, like we have a blood bank? Or
You should do a whole segment on that, because there are milk banks, but it's expensive and there's not a lot of it. That's something we need to develop more of.
That's a shame. Yeah, we need to advocate for that.
And it usually goes towards preemie babies or babies that are really at risk.
Yes. For your everyday mom, I would echo just what your guest before said, which is be prepared. And just like you're not going to go into your birth without perhaps a birthing class or lining up your doula and doing some reading, the same thing with breastfeeding. Once that baby's here, what are you going to do? So we recommend that a pregnant mom find a local meeting, and come to that meeting and connect with a leader. So when you're in the hospital and you're having a struggle or a challenge, that leader's a phone call or a text away while you're in the hospital. And then you can attend meetings before you give birth, see how it's done, ask some questions, be prepared.
Yeah.
So that if something does happen, I feel like my supply is low, or whatever, you reach out to that leader and she's there for you. We also have sort of our Bible, The Womanly Art of Breastfeeding, which has, in its 8th edition, This is published by La Leche League International. Buy this book and have this ahead of time. It covers a lot of the things that you just mentioned, Jackie. What if I have low supply? What if I have oversupply? What if I've had breast reduction surgery? What if my baby has a tongue tie? All those things are covered in here. It's very conversational. It's easy to read. This is our newest book. It's called Sweet Sleep. And, because having that newborn not sleeping,
Sleep is always a big topic. With
be a
the
challenge,
no matter how you feed, that's always one thing I wanted to add too is that there used to be a whole village. It takes a village. It used to be the village surrounding the mom. It used to be the mother, the aunts, the sisters, the friends would be all around, and women would grow up seeing people nurse and knowing what to do, and
now it's
how
a
do
very
you hold a
isolating
baby when you're
time.
nursing as opposed to how do you hold a baby when you're giving the bottle. We grow up, a lot of kids grow up seeing babies on television, in the media, and in their life, seeing the baby being fed by the bottle. They have no idea how to nurse.
Sure.
So a lot of the issues come from that as well. It's something that up until 100 years ago or 50 years ago, it wasn't a question. It was just, that's what we would do. It would happen, and that's okay. And then there were very few women that had difficulties, but that's no longer the case.
Right. And as a PS to that, I would say, every leader is going to work with every mom to help her achieve her breastfeeding goals. What do you want as a breastfeeding mom? What do you want? It might be two very different things.
But you were saying before, you know what's best for your baby.
You do know what's best for your baby and your family. We're just here to help you achieve your goals. We're here to offer information and support. We don't tell you what to do. We say, this is what you want to do. You're returning to work. You want to continue to breastfeed. You have other children at home. You want to continue to breastfeed, even though it's a challenge. Wherever you are, we're here to help you do what you want to do. That might include bottles. It might include pumping. Who knows? Only you know.
I think that's so important because I think especially at this stage in a mother's life, in a woman's life, there can be a lot of bullying.
Yes.
There is so much, this is how I did it. And it is, everyone is so different. Every baby is so different. And
Every situation is different.
there has to be respect
Right.
and listening and open ears and open heart. So
Right. And that's what our leaders do.
Yes.
They do listen with an open heart and meet you where you are, and you're going to get lots of advice as a new mom.
yeah,
And we get a lot of training, and not just
you're prepared for every situation.
Right.
It seems
Exactly.
like, and
Right.
open to a new situation should it
That's
arise,
right.
which is so great.
Right. We received communication skills training, so
That's
really
awesome.
a huge part of our job is to
Fantastic.
listen.
absolutely.
To listen.
Well, we'll be right back. We have to take a quick commercial break, and I think we're going to be viewing some photos that you sent in.
Good.
Here, we have an attractive orange and a distinguished apple. The two similar, but opposites. Theory, a wingman is needed, or perhaps a wing lemon. A friend to the orange and an acquaintance to the apple, the lemon brings the two opposites together. See, with a little fresh thinking, the universe can be surprisingly smooth.
When we make Beyond Natural dry dog and cat foods, we start with real meat as the first ingredient. We leave out corn, wheat, and soy. And we own where our dry food is made. 100%. Can other brands say all that? For nutrition you can trust and your pet will enjoy. Does your food go beyond? Learn more at purinabeyond.com.
Fitzpatrick's. Deli dine for breakfast and lunch. And at night, gourmet dine for dinner with entrees and specialty sandwiches including certified black Angus cuts of beef and wild-caught seafood, plus catering options for specialty events. Since 1989, Fitzpatrick's, your hometown place with upscale tastes.
Apple Ridge is about freedom. Apple Ridge is about community. Apple Ridge is about home. Apple Ridge, everything you want, more than you expect. Welcome to your new neighborhood. Apple Ridge Senior Living. Enjoy a maintenance-free, affordable luxury lifestyle today. Visit appleridgeseniorliving.com and find out more about the Apple Ridge experience.
Hi, I'm Stephanie Milan, host of Read All About It. I interview authors of all kinds about their journeys of writing and the struggles that they face. You can watch my show at 12 p.m. on Wednesdays. Tune in to Radio Vision Networks. We hope to see you then.
Hi, I'm Jim Turpin, host of Your Best 50. Please join me every Thursday at 3:30 where we'll cover topics that are important to the baby boom generation and their kids. And let us help you make this your best 50.
Today's show has been sponsored by Farmers Insurance in Voorhees, New Jersey. To protect your assets and the people you love, call Mike Skoranek, your local Farmers Insurance agent, at 856-336-2553.
We are farmers. Bum, ba-dum, bum, 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 bum.
I'm back. I'm Jacqueline Dixon, and I'm co-hosting Morning Coffee today. Thank you all for joining us. I'm here with my show co-Charlene, and we're back with Colleen and Lindy from the Leche League, our local division here in New Jersey, and we are so lucky to have both of you today. You're amazing, empowering women and helping women in our state learn so much about breastfeeding, which is really, really incredible.
Well, we have some images that we're going to look at that the Leche sent over to us this morning.
Okay.
And can you comment on these?
Sure. This is one of our great leaders up in North Jersey, Kathy Berquist. She's actually the head of the department that accredits new leaders, as we were talking about before. All leaders go through an accreditation process, and she's speaking at one of our conferences. We have an annual conference here in New Jersey. Not every state does have an annual conference, and we're very fortunate here in New Jersey to have an annual conference where families can come learn about breastfeeding and parenting topics. It's not all breastfeeding all the time. There's all kinds of topics covered at our weekend conference, and so here, Kathy's one of our guest speakers at that conference. And this is another one of our fantastic leaders, Noelle O'Shea. She's from the Bordentown area, and she's speaking at the conference. We have healthcare providers who also come to our conference. She's speaking on tongue tie and gastrointestinal issues and GERD and things like that. So
that the baby, I have seen that drive
that the baby would have
out of their minds. They just don't know that that's what's going on with the baby.
Right. There can be a lot of challenges, and your local leader can help you sort through what might be going on with your baby. So in this session right here, there's healthcare providers from all over the tri-state area, and there's also leaders like Lindy and myself. I was in this session at our conference in April, and so we're getting ongoing training, as Lindy mentioned before.
Oh, that's great.
Right. Oh, this is Linda Smith. She's the author of the book that we held up earlier, Sweet Sleep. She's one of the co-authors. Yeah. Right. So here she is speaking on fostering the new normal. And so she's at our conference giving us training and speaking. Linda, you were in this session, right?
That was a great session. And one thing I like about Fostering the New Normal, just the title and the concept, is that we often talk about the benefits of breastfeeding. And we don't talk about the benefits of not smoking. We talk about the harm of smoking. And so to say the benefit of breastfeeding kind of indicates it's the $500 car seat versus the $75 car seat, which is perfectly fine too. Formula feeding has become the standard, and so breastfeeding is sort of like the above and beyond. And we really like to look at breastfeeding as that's what's normal, that's what's natural. And
actually love that you said that, because kind of what I was saying to you before is breastfeeding to me has become the $500 car seat, and I feel like a lot of women feel like it's not for them or not accessible, but maybe they just haven't met with people like yourselves and gotten the information. And again, like we were talking with Supriya, sometimes we just heard that one horror story,
and
it was enough to take it completely out of our heads. My mom always used to tell people that my stepbrothers were older, and she couldn't have in her house have been breastfeeding with grown boys around and blah blah blah.
Well,
and
I think
look how insane I am because of all that formula.
Seeing women breastfeed is a great early sex education. You know what breasts are for, among other things. I mean, breasts are certainly sexual, but they're also to feed your young. So it's great to see that. We see breasts in a sexual images all the time, and kids see that all the time. How often do they see it normalized as a source of food for babies?
But it's how quickly people who will let their kids see breasts in a sexual
Oh,
way
yeah.
will jump down your throat for how horrible breastfeeding is, which
Right.
is such a shame.
And I do want to say about formula, there's nothing wrong with formula. Formula saves lives. Formula was designed for babies that don't have access to breast
Yes,
milk and
thank
can't
God
get
there
it.
is formula.
Absolutely.
You know.
Thank you for saying that, Lindy.
But it
because I
doesn't make
think
it an
yeah.
equivalent product to
No,
breast milk.
absolutely.
So.
Sure.
Right. And we have the scientific evidence and studies to back that up. And Lindy, I know you've
Right.
read a lot of those. Lindy's a representative in our professional liaison department, and one of the things that department does is to keep track of all of the studies and information that's coming out as to what a
Right.
superior product breast milk is. So we are evidence-based. We're not just, oh, well, do this because it feels good.
Right.
Do you know that, I'm sure you probably do, but there's, people have said if children get like an infection in their eyes or on their skin, doctors or, lactation consultants and the like will tell the mother to put breast milk on it. It's the same thing, like we're using coconut oil on everything these days. It's just as effective, like an antiviral and antiseptic. It's really, really incredible.
Well, breast milk is antiviral, antifungal, antibacterial, anti-carcinogenic. I mean, it's just...
We should all have
it.
it.
It is, and it's a living, dynamic
We need
substance.
that bank. We need the bank.
Yeah, it's living. It changes as a mother is exposed to somebody with a cold or somebody with a flu.
Of course.
She immediately produces antibodies that goes. The
It's
baby
so
gets
incredible.
it before. It's like getting a vaccination every single day geared specifically to what you've been exposed to. So nothing that comes out of a can or a bottle is going to be able to do that.
Right. Our producer is telling us that we need to go to a commercial.
What?
So
Okay.
please
Oh.
tell our viewers how they can find you and find out all about La Leche League.
Sure. If you go to it's 3 L's, I.org, that stands for La Leche League International. From there, you can buy our books, you can find a local meeting, you can find a local leader. Even if you're traveling, you could get help wherever you are.
And there's a lot of free information that you don't have to buy.
That's right.
Don't be afraid to ask for the help. I mean, that's...
All services are free.
Right. All services are free. All meetings are free. All telephone help is free. So if you go to that site, LLLI.org, you can work your way to La Leche League of the Garden State and find your local leader. If you're in New York or Pennsylvania or wherever you might be, you can find a local leader or a local meeting to help you.
Well, thank you both for being on Morning Coffee.
Thank
It was
you,
a
ladies.
pleasure meeting you.
Yes. Very
Thank you.
informative.
Thank you for what you do.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you for helping us spread the word.
You're welcome. We'll be right back with our next guest.